RPG overload. And doing my absolute best, okay, to basically finish up Baldur's Gate 3 and Like a Dragon Infinite Well. The good news is we are on pace to finish these games this week. In fact, if we stay at the same pacing that we've been at, I'll probably beat them both on Friday. And I know that's crazy. Like, wait, what? It's going to be perfect timing to finish them both on Friday? Yeah, maybe. All right? But let me tell you guys something. All right? And again, you know me, I'm honest. I'm not a butt kisser, but I also don't irrationally hate things for clickbait views. The further we go into Baldur's Gate 3 Endgame, the more I dislike this game. All right? And this is a game that I understand is something that attempted to do something probably never done in any kind of an RPG before. It tried to make an unmatched, insane amount of quantity while still maintaining a certain level of production value and quality in a retail gaming experience. You know, this is not a game that you paid $400 to play, although some people might very well say that's a justified price tag for the amount of content in the game. Okay? But man, after yesterday's stream, the entire stream was like a comedy of errors. And as much as I'd like to admit that sometimes I'm the one making the mistakes, yesterday was just atrocious. Okay? Simply using game mechanics that have worked the entirety of the game led to failure and disaster. Bugs, glitches, horrible design choices, frozen characters, screens teleporting back and forth between two rooms when I wasn't even in a room involved in something. It was just nonsense. Okay? And it all culminated at the very end of that session with me ultimately looking to lose a legendary weapon that is essential for the build of my character Karlach. And if it doesn't exist anymore, basically she's going to be nearly worthless. All right? Because there's really no way to replace that weapon. Did I do something wrong to deserve that? No, it's just a wonky game engine. And that's sad. Because a game with this many moving parts, there's so much to keep track of. I can understand when every once in a while something goes wrong. In fact, I can understand if like every third of the time something random happens and you're not expecting it. But when you're in the end game and you have a situation where you've built a character over the course of 130 hours and everything you've done has worked towards this character's build, and basically this character is so good, they've single-handedly been the reason you have won endgame challenging boss fights like the Raphael fight. And then to say, oh, we just decided in this particular fight, there's going to be a random variable that's going to cause chaos, and now an item will literally be yeeted from existence, fingers snapped out of the game engine, is completely unacceptable. You know, last week I ranted about a character in my party leaving and taking all his equipment with him. Now, you can argue that's the result of my choices in the game. Fair enough. I just don't like the way that he walks out of the game with no way to get those items back and no opportunity to even know that he's about to leave. In this case, I didn't do anything wrong. It's just the game engine that's causing me strife, and it looks like at the very end of the game is going to screw me over, and now we've got to pull a last-minute audible to figure out how to remedy the situation. In fact, it's so funny because literally right now, no one can concretely tell me what actually happened, nor is anyone sure if that spear actually exists or not in the game world. A lot of people are under the impression it's gone, and others are like, maybe it's hidden. So we got to try to figure this out as we play today. It's just a mess. And the fact is, for a game that is supposed to be Game of the Year, for a game that's supposed to be adhering to a very strict rule set of D&D, it shouldn't be a variable of, we don't know what happened. It should be very distinct and easy to figure out what happened, and it's not. And that's a problem, okay? So, today, we are going to talk all about yesterday's disaster stream of Baldur's Gate 3 and how the comedy of errors built up to the ultimate fumble and now what to do moving forward. Good news is, we're in the final hour, right? It's in the, we're running to the end zone. We're almost there. We're going to finish this game in just a few days. And then finally, we'll be done with it. We could say enough. Because I'll be honest, like, I've enjoyed the game. There's no way I would have played a game for 130 plus hours if I wasn't overall enjoying myself. I want to make that clear. But I also feel like this game basically got an insane amount of passes when other games would have been judged very harshly for the problems that this game has, because there was this humongous hype behind it for whatever reason. And I don't know, because actually I'm not into D&D. I'm not into Larian Studios games or this style of game. So I actually don't know where the hype came from. All right. I respect the game for a lot of the things it's trying to do, making essentially the longest retail game possible. I don't think I've ever played a video game before where I paid regular retail price and got this much content out of it, right? And it's not rehashed fetch quests. It's not go grind against 1,000 goblins. It's all unique. That's a huge undertaking and a huge accomplishment, in my opinion. But FYI, I'm sorry. I do feel like this game is overhyped, is overpraised. It has these wonky problems, these jankiness to the game engine. The problem that it's just so complex. Again, it's so many moving parts that at some point you have to understand that when something goes wrong, it's just not fun anymore. And that's the point I'm at. Like, after yesterday, I'm at my wit's end with this game. I just want it to end so we can say, it's done, I've done it, move on. And that's not good. You shouldn't have that feeling when you've invested 130 hours into a game, that one game of the year. You shouldn't have a feeling of incredible exhaustion and just wanting to move on at the end of it. And I do. And that's my honest take. And listen, I'm sure there's tons of people out there who don't have that feeling or never did during the course of playing the game. I can only share with you my thoughts from my personal experience. This game fell apart in the third act. It really did. Like, there's so many problems we've had in this third act, and this is just the icing on the cake now, that it's hard to recommend someone invest this much time into a game that at the end can ruin you because it decides to. You know what I mean? So anyway, let's talk about it, all right? Let's go ahead and discuss the stream from yesterday. Just to get this out of the way, here's the schedule for the week.